Good night, good morning, good afternoon. I so miss vlogging. As you can see, my background's different, so I've been taking time out to move and take care of my mommy life, but I am back. Um, I've been so excited to talk to the world. I enjoy talking to people. I wanted to elaborate a little bit on expectations, and I think that expectations goes unnoticed. So I've been having these little conversations with my business team and my family, and even with myself. Like having expectations of people, you're more liable to have your feelings exposed and hurt. So when you expect someone up here and they're constantly meeting you down here, you know your feelings are constantly hurt. Whether that be an individual you idol, whether that be a boss, whether that be a family member, a loved one, someone that might be a monarchy in your life. Um, Even a pastor or something. When you have those expectations that aren't being met, it tends to impair your judgment of them. So I feel like, for example, I have expectations of people because I see their potential. Whether they see their potential or not is a different story, but I see their potential. So when I know that someone's not excelling the way that I perceive them to do, so I'm hurt, I'm in my feelings, or my judgment of them is no longer the same because I expect certain things. I expect, certain actions from them and for them to do or act accordingly. So in that way, expectations can be a negative thing. And having expectations of people is not necessarily all a negative thing, but I do think that if you have more of an open mind frame in accepting people where they're at, then expectations wouldn't be a factor versus you just accepting them for who they are, what they can and what they cannot do. Um, I've had quite a few conversations and open discussions with my business team about expectations in relationships. And expectations can kind of destroy communication, because if I'm your partner, you're my partner, vice versa, and you expect for me to do certain things without verbalizing those things, then it's going to alter our relationship, because in your mind, you're expecting something of me that I'm really not expecting of myself. But because you might see my potential, or you might see your partner's potential, your family members, whoever's potential, you don't need to verbalize because you expect. And I think an expectation's more, I would like to say from my point of view, is more internal. I'm not saying, well, hey, I expect these 5 things from you. Not as an adult, I might tell that to my child, but as an adult, it's kind of like, I expect for your age for you to act accordingly. I expect at this day and age you to do X, Y, and Z, or I expect the fact that we've been together for so long that you should know this, versus me verbalizing it to you. So I think that is an X factor in a relationship, and that should be considered in any relationship. And a relationship doesn't have to necessarily, and a relationship doesn't necessarily have to mean an intimate relationship. A relationship that you hold with anybody, friend, family, cousin, mother, brother, boss, co-worker, even some strangers you hold relationships with. So again, I think that the negative side to expectations is not allowing an individual to be who they are. And I think it's holding an individual to a certain pedestal that, that individual themselves might not be able to meet, or might not be able to meet whenever someone else foresees so. I think a positive side to expectations is not settling just for anything, and not just settling for less. So if this is where you're at in life, it's almost like meeting a quota. If this is where you're at in life, this is where you want to go, then you expect to obtain that. You expect to execute it. You expect to not settle for less, or you expect this of a person to a certain extent. So when I say expect this of a person, it's kind of like if I know, I might be single, or if I know, this is what my partner and I's common goal is, then I expect you to be cognitively aware of meeting that goal, that perspective and expectations. But just having expectations of people, maybe because you might have known them out of longevity, or the way you might idol and or respect them, or whatever role that they play in your life, having those expectations, I definitely think places barriers on any relationship. So, with that being said, I wasn't always aware of expectations, but I wasn't always aware of the cause and effect of expectations. Let me say that. I had expectations of people, and I could understand for the life of me why, I was always angry when people did wrong, or, when good people overexerted themselves, or people just didn't care. People were selfish, because in my mind I expected more from them, or I expected for them to do less. So just having expectations kind of can curve those ultimate feelings, good, bad, and indifferent, because without those expectations, you're allowing a person to be free, be their own individuals, and bring what they bring to the table, or conduct their actions however they choose to do so. And with that, you don't have any expectations, so your feelings are more on a neutral level. Anywho, like I said in the beginning, I'm not sure if I said in the beginning, but my background's different because I moved, and I took some time off of vlogging to get my mind right, and I've been educating myself. My business is definitely growing. My business partner, my co-founder, she's awesome. My team is awesome. And one of the things about my team that I like is realism. There's no expectations. It's more so like, what can we do? How can we do? And what can we do together? But then there's common expectations, like, this is my position, so you kind of expect this of me. Not, oh, I expect you to be a better woman, now I'm going to judge you because you're not meeting my expectations. Not expectations like that. So that's a prime example of good and bad, pros and cons of expectations. Again, the team that we have built collectively is awesome, and just having open communication and realism around is always a beautiful thing. I think that I've always been held on a higher standard, not saying that I'm better than anybody else. Excuse me, but I think the way that I have lived, and the characteristics that I do possess, and the strong personality that I do have, I've had expectations as more of a hindrance, like a monkey on my back, than anything. So coming into business and coming into a team full of realism, where people don't expect anything from you, is kind of different. In the beginning, I'm questioning it, you know what I mean? And sometimes when you go through so much negative things in life, or you're a pessimist and you don't expect the good to always happen first, you tend to question the good. And now I'm kind of beyond that factor. So when the good does come, I just embrace it, no questions asked. So that's the fun part about the team that we have built together, and I'm enjoying my team in that perspective. Otherwise, business is definitely good. The expectations have been a hindrance and a monkey on my back, because when it's time to grow up, we're adults by age, but when it's time to grow up, or when your eyes are open per se, or you see things in the clearer light, and you start making changes such as I have, I think people hold on to those expectations of who you used to be. And I think that people don't really realize where they're still at versus where you used to be. So it's kind of like, not a communication error, but, some type of, I'm not going to say misconstrued, but some type of, level of understanding that is not being not addressed but being factored in, so I think that the woman that I am growing to be versus the woman that I used to be, the expectations differently has been looked at differently and has changed. So you would typically expect a certain reaction or a certain way from me, I'm gonna say just as short as 3 years ago versus now 3 years later. I'm in a different chapter in life, and I'm a mom. So things that I would do then freely, I wouldn't freely do some of those things now. But people's expectations of who I used to be kind of trickled into who I am now. But some people can't see, the change in life of others. So. That's another prime example of expectations. I think expectations coincides with accepting and judgment, and I've talked about this previously on my vlogs, but it's very prominent today, and I'm going to always, speak on reality and what I see. But what has helped me grow is for me not to have expectations of others, no matter what their no matter what my perception is, but no matter where they're at in life, just to accept them where they're at. You know what I mean? What you can offer is you can offer. I don't expect for you to give me $500 because I know you make a six-figure annual income. No, I accept what you can give, and it doesn't have to be in a monetary way. Just anything in life. That was just an easy example. So that's where I'm at now. But expectations and acceptance, I expect I have expected, past tense, certain expectations of people to accept me for who I am. Excuse me. Or my way of seeing things, and not to judge me for my mentality that I do have, but my expectations of that person was really wrong, and I want to say maybe even subconsciously ignorant, because I didn't think about all the different avenues of judgment. But my expectations were wrong because I wanted people to accept me, and I didn't expect, I expected for them to know who I am, understand what I see, understand why I'm saying what I'm saying. So my expectations of them was to understand me. And when that wasn't happening, I kind of low-key wasn't accepting myself, because not only was I expecting to accept me, but because they weren't accepting me, I started second guessing myself. And this tool right here is a powerful, powerful tool, and the most powerful tool that you never want to waste. So, with that being said, that is my spill on expectations. But again, expectations, judgment, and acceptance, they fall into the same pool, if you will. So yeah, as a mom, I don't have expectations. I have expectations, common goals, and expectations that a parent would have. That would be something like completing school, having respect, being courteous to others, do unto others as you want done unto you. But my expectations of my child isn't because I know, your father might be a college graduate, that I expect you to graduate college. No. So a part of that, like I said, meeting people where they're at is I would meet my child where they're at. Just because two people create a child doesn't mean that I'm solely supposed to expect that they're going to follow the same paths that the two people that created them follow. So it's meeting my child where they're at and allowing my child to have their own individuality and their own uniqueness and embracing it. So that way my expectations and my feelings won't get hurt. I'm not expecting something more than my child can give me. I'm just allowing my child to freely be them and trust what the decisions that they make is, best for them without any expectations held against them. Speaking of child, so I'm saying they because my baby's gonna have a sibling. So yeah. So throwing expectations into parenting, just talking about it, just touching, on it briefly. I have high expectations of myself. And even still, I can apply it to myself, but I definitely do. And when I'm unable to meet those expectations, I'm back in those same feelings that I'm preaching to you, to say don't hold up others. Self is included because sometimes you're doing what you can do. And sometimes you can't see the reasoning why you can't do. Does that make sense? So sometimes you can only do what you can do, but you cannot see the reasoning why you can't do, and sometimes when you can't see things, you kind of feel incomplete about them. You don't feel like you've executed something, or you don't feel like you've done something completely because you can't foresee it. And then sometimes when that reasoning might come along or that coincidence might come along, you're like, oh, okay, now I get it. I know that's why I couldn't do this, whatever the rhyme and reason is. So I hold myself to expectations as a parent, and hopefully as I continue vlogging, I'd have that pregnancy nose and you all will fully see me full-blown pregnant. I'm not saying the next time I vlog. I'm just saying as I continue vlogging. The good part about expectations is, I expect for my child and her sibling to be close in bond in relationship, and I expect for them to, depend on each other when times are rough, and when times is good, and I expect for my children to lean on each other versus, falling short systematically and mentally to the system first. So those are positive expectations that I definitely think, and I would like to hope that all parents have, but to each his own. So with that being said, I know that you're probably done listening to me. If you got fully through this vlog, thank you so much. It's been definitely a little while, but I am getting everything together. If you haven't followed my business page already, follow my business page. We actually have some pins made, and it's on my bag, and it's unique. You can see the pins. They're awesome. We have a lot of supporters. We are doing collaborative work with organizations, which is awesome. We're building healthy relationships, and I've recently had the opportunity to, I think I told you all the last vlog, if I'm not mistaken, to provide resources to our men in prison. So that was awesome. I'm constantly trying to reach out to the male population, whether it's incarcerated men, pre-release, getting men reacclimated to society. So yeah, if you have any resources, suggestions, ideas, You can follow Uni on Facebook. That's Uni 2016. That's EUUNI. You can follow us on Twitter. You can email uni.2016@gmail.com and leave suggestions, ideas, topics, whatever. You can even ask questions. You can drop a comment below. Make sure you tell a friend to subscribe. But Uni, again, as a friendly reminder, it stands for empowering, uplifting, uniting, networking, and inspiring others. I know it's a mouthful, but it's positive, it's constructive. So, yeah, constructive in a positive way. So yeah, business is good. You know, business, mommy life, 2 jobs, you know, just enjoying what life is about, you know. Soon, I will be doing next year an active vlog out of the country, so you'd have clips everywhere. That's going to be awesome. But yeah, stay tuned. So I will upload another video soon. So thank you for tuning in. Bye.